Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, October 15th, 2012, 2 p.m. in council chambers. First item up is the adoption of some minutes, Committee of the Whole minutes from October the 1st, and regular open minutes from October the 1st. Any errors, omissions, changes? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. There was some business arising from prior minutes. There's a resolution from October the 1st, special closed meeting. That resolution was motion in camera 58212, moved by Councillor LaPlante and seconded by Councillor McCordoff, and resolved that it be made public that Council passed exempt staff compensation policy HR-019 at a special closed meeting on September the 13th, 2012. This was a compensation, just as it states, a compensation policy for our exempt staff. We didn't have one before, so this is actually a mechanical process. People are on grids, and they can understand where they have the potential to go within the town organization. And I guess do we need a motion to receive? Councillor Rhodes McCordoff. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Into business arising, into introduction of late items. There is a letter from the Red Cross, and I think we can just deal with it right now, because I'm not sure if it's a letter to receive or certainly dealing with what I would call the equipment loan cupboard. I think that's old phraseology, but Councillor Ryan, do you want to address that, or Councillor McCordoff?
Councillor Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councillor McCordoff. Yes, this is a letter that Council has received, which comes actually from a committee of volunteers led by Virginia Cook, and it's a letter that they have sent to the Red Cross in care of the president, the volunteer president of the Red Cross. And at the time that we were, after Council had asked this committee to convene and to work with Councillor McCordoff and myself, we said that we would be happy to support anything that they undertook. And so I think it would be appropriate for Council, if they are agreeable, to again write to the president. We don't have the name on this piece of paper, but to the president, care of their office in Kelowna, saying that Council fully supports the activities of the volunteer group that is working for the reinstatement of the Red Cross Equipment Supply Depot here in Osoyoos.
Okay, and you made that as a motion?
I would make that as a motion.
And the seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Any further dialogue on this? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. We will draft that letter of strong support for this local group that came forward on a rescue mission.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the next item. There's no delegations. Water matters, paying some water accounts in the amount of $47,945.14. Moved by Councillor Moreira, seconded by Councillor Ryan. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Under correspondence, there's a report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board, the last meeting, the highlights of the meeting, and that would need a motion to receive, please. Councillor Rhodes McCordoff. Any discussion? Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we don't often pause with these reports, but I'd like to bring attention to one of the articles that's on the front page, and that has to do with zebra and quagga mussels. I hope I've said that right. I've tried a dozen times and I keep getting it wrong, but I'm getting closer every time. These are kind of an invasive and insidious animal that has been showing some signs of kind of moving up towards our lake. I think they've been discovered in some of the watershed areas in Washington already, and they've proven to be a very, very harmful species, particularly in the Great Lakes in Canada. And I just wanted to pause here for a couple of minutes and say those few words and really encourage everybody to look deeper into it and read the article in depth. It actually has a link right on it, and you can pick that up from the online source that we have with our agendas.
Thank you. Anything further? I guess I'll just add a little bit there. There's a workshop coming up that I'm going to be attending in Kelowna, and it's a full-day workshop. I have forwarded it to council and some of the media people. I think it's going to be just absolutely invaluable, because this is a new threat to all our water systems, and to the point that if you were taking water out of a lake, if you had an intake in there pumping water, these mussels can choke it right out. They're very, very invasive. They are invasive. They're very strong. They just take over water sources and anything mechanical dealing with water. They can cause a lot of grief. We could be talking, if they get established in the Okanagan, we'll be talking millions and millions of dollars of looking at an abatement program. Through the Okanagan Basin Water Board, which I chair, we've sent a letter to 2 federal departments asking for some vigilance and trying to stop them from coming in to the province, which would be both at the Alberta border and at the U.S. border. There was one series of, and I believe they were the zebra mussels found in Shuswap Lake, but on a boat trailer. But they were not live; they were dead. But they have been discovered here. There are some good programs out there. The Idaho, when you're at the border between Idaho and Washington, they have inspection stations looking for these mussels. And I believe there's been 6 boats that were headed for British Columbia waters that had either zebra or quagga mussels on the trailers or on the boat itself. So we really have to be a lot more vigilant than we are. Turn up the heat. You will be hearing, this is just one of these things that you're going to be hearing a lot more about in the future. And the reason for the workshop is certainly education and awareness. So I hope it's to come back with a lot more information. So thanks, Councillor Rhodes, for bringing that up. So we had a motion to receive. All in favor? That has been received. And the second item under correspondence, Kim Slater, campaign organizer for Band Together BC. Council's wishes on that, please. Just a motion to receive also? Okay, Councillor McCordock Rhodes, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Under bylaws, the Cottonwood Highway 3 loan authorization bylaw 1290-2012, report by Director of Financial Services, Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just as background, this is to establish a loan authorization bylaw to allow the town of Osoyoos to borrow funds to secure financing for the Cottonwood Road reconstruction project from Highway 3 to the remainder of Lot 1, Plan 46437. Just to provide a little bit of detail on this project will involve the resurfacing of the pavement from Highway 3 to halfway into the Riviera Motel area, or just towards the end of their property, joining up with the new Cottonwood Drive pavement from was previously done. It will also involve creating sidewalks on the west side of of Cottonwood Drive, all the way to join the sidewalks that are on the beach side, and then on the other side 2 blocks of sidewalk. So that's the nature of the project that's going to be involved. The road reconstruction project for Cottonwood from Highway 3 to the remainder of the lot is Town of Osoyoos 5-year financial plan. Construction is scheduled for the spring of 2013. The project has a budget of $383,000, with 25% of the funding coming from development cost charges. That's $95,750, and the balance of $287,250 from borrowing. To secure the funding for the balance of the project, the loan authorization bylaw 129-2012 was prepared for council. The bylaw received first 3 readings from council at the April 16, 2012 regular meeting. The Inspector of Municipalities approved the bylaw on May 29, 2012. Elector assent was obtained with the advertising of the alternative approval process in the August 22nd and 29th issues of the Osoyoos Times. For the elector assent to be received, the town would have to receive less than 404 votes against the borrowing, for which 24 electors voted against the borrowing. The town received elector assent at 4:30 on October 1st, 2012. The bylaw is now being brought forward to council for adoption. And implications, community ensuring that the road networks and sidewalks are continue to be kept in good shape. Organizationally, no changes. Budget, the project was included in the 5-year plan. And sustainability, to ensure road infrastructure is maintained. And the options are to adopt the loan authorization bylaw 1290 2012, or not to adopt the loan authorization bylaw.
Thank you. Council, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I would move that we adopt loan authorization bylaw 1290 2012.
Thank you. And the seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Speaking to the motion, I believe you had some questions earlier in the day.
Well, I did, and Mr. Romenko has answered them. I felt that particularly because this was a loan borrowing and because some of the electors had objected to it, that it was helpful to realize what was actually going to be done as a result of this. And it will, as Mr. Romenko said, it will continue our sidewalk program, particularly on the north side of Highway 3. We've now have almost continuous sidewalks, and because Cottonwood Park Beach is so heavily used, it provides good sidewalks now from that area right up to Highway 3. And so I think it is good, and of course this we say so often in these times that it's a good time to borrow, and we as part of the borrowing under the auspices of our province have a good credit rating, so and it will be spread out over a number of years. So I think it's enhancing our community's assets.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other comments on that? I'd just like to say that really it was a real safety issue there with the number of people that are moving around in those areas in the summertime. And there was no sidewalks or anything, you know, people are sort of on the road and they don't know where the road is, the parking is and that. So it was good. And council is also very prudent. We look around and see if there's ever an opportunity for some new construction or a subdivision or something happening, because then you can usually get the money from the development. But in this case, there was really no hope of anything happening with the traffic light there on Cottonwood. Went ahead, borrowed the money, and we'll get that done, and that's going to be a great addition for that neighborhood. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The permissive tax exemption bylaw 1293. Again, Mr. Romenko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. For council to renew their permissive tax exemption bylaw under section 224 of the community charter. Each year council updates the permissive tax exemption bylaw, which is to be adopted no later than October 31st of each year. This tax exemption bylaw would take effect for the 2013 tax year. Bylaw number 1293 2012 received the first 3 readings on September 17th 2012. Advertisements were posted on the town's website, e-news, and in the Osoyoos Times for the October 3rd and 10th issues. This bylaw is now before council for adoption. There were 2 properties added to this year's permissive tax bylaw, exemption bylaw. One, the Desert Park Exhibition Society for the leased portions of the lands at Desert Park, and 2, the Osoyoos Pyramid Corporation Limited for the land being leased by the town of Osoyoos for boat trailer parking. Implications: continuation of providing permissive tax exemption by updating and renewing the permissive tax exemption bylaw. No organizational changes, no budget changes. Sustainability allows for nonprofit organizations and places of public worship to continue to provide services to the town of Osoyoos community. And the options are to adopt the permissive tax bylaw or to further amend the permissive tax bylaw.
Thank you. Council, please. Councillor Plant.
Yes, I would recommend option 1 to adopt permissive tax exemption bylaw 1293/2012.
And seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next part of the meeting is under the business heading, and there's some council meeting reports, and these are councillors attending out-of-town functions. There's one for Councillor McCordoff, Councillor Rhodes, and Councillor Michael Ryan. We'd be looking for these to be met, please, to be paid. Councillor McCordoff and seconder Councillor Plant. Any discussion on these? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next item of business is the cancellation of the January the 7th meeting in 2013. And normally we do this because there's no business, actually, with town hall closed and that, and we're just getting back. So I'll just read the report here. Public notice is required of council meetings. Council procedure bylaw requires meetings to be held on the first and third Monday of each month, with the first meeting of January 2013 falling right after the Christmas holidays. It may need to be canceled. The first meeting of 2013 would normally be held on January the 7th, being the first Monday of the month, with the Christmas holidays just ending the week prior. There may not be sufficient time for reports to be created and an agenda to be distributed. Also, there has been indication that some council members may not be available to attend the January 7th, 2013 meeting. Therefore, it is being recommended that council cancel the first meeting of 2013, being January the 7th. This cancellation must be advertised and posted in accordance with the community charter. This will be done when the entire 2013 council meeting schedule is approved. Council's wishes, please, to either adopt that or recommend that or not. Councillor Plant.
Yes, I would say that we recommend option number 1, that the regular meeting of January the 7th, 2013 be canceled.
And the seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion on that? This is we normally do this one every year. So all in favor? Opposed? Carried. We get a holiday Monday there. Moving into the report section. Again, paying some bills under the general Sun Bowl arena and payroll accounts. The general account in the amount of $228,187.45. Sun Bowl account in the amount of $8,841.37. And payroll accounts for receipt in the amount of $78,099.97. A lot of nines in there. So if there's any comments on that, hearing none, they'll be adopted by consensus. And the building permit report for September shows no new construction and just a small amount of alterations and accessory garage and some repairs. Total for the month, just $40,500. Total to date, $3,665,000, and total to date the year before was $2 million. So we're up about $1.6 million roughly over the year before. So I need a motion to receive, please. Councillor McCordoff, Ryan. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? That has been received. Excuse me, I'm having a bit of a throat problem here today. Committee reports. I don't have any committee reports, so that would bring us to the CAO report. Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just a couple things, as I was away on vacation for a couple of weeks. First of all, a lot of public works. The only thing that they have noted is that they've had a meeting with the U.S. border station in relation to the sewer services and the potential landfilling of their fruits and vegetables in our landfill to avoid the issues that we were having with smells from earlier on. So we're in discussions with the U.S. on that particular matter. Out of the Community Services Department, They're happy to report that the Osoyoos Autism Behavioral Center has a new home at the old Red Cross Room in the Sonora Center. The Osoyoos Traditional Archery School is preparing to set up their club in the new area at the Desert Park Complex. And lastly, that they'll be completing a 2-day accessibility audit with the Social Planning and Research Council of BC on October 18th and 19th, and they'll be focusing on town buildings, public washrooms, beaches, and parks. And that's all for today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The next one up would be the councillor reports, and Councillor Rhodes, who has, I think, 3 previous exemptions, so I think he's loaded up on us here. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'm not going to surprise everybody with a 45-minute dissertation on all of the issues I think are important, but I thought it was kind of timely, and I wanted to report on a workshop that was held last week, and it was about our waterfront Gyro Beach area. And hopefully everyone's aware that we've always had an existing waterfront master plan, and many of those projects that were outlined in that plan have been, completed in our community. And along our waterfront, we have the new washroom and all that kind of stuff, and things are rolling along pretty good. But we all know that things get old. This group here is exempted from that comment, of course. And they get out of date, and it was kind of felt that perhaps a workshop would help us bring forward some more contemporary ideas that would help us move into the next phase of development. So we went out and invited a cross-section of individuals from our community, and we received really enthusiastic response from business owners, professionals, residents, folks from the hospitality and restaurant businesses, and they were all willing to give up 2.5 days from their busy lives and attend and contribute to this workshop. So the 30 or so participants that were at this thing started last Wednesday with a clean slate, and they were asked by our facilitators from City Spaces to make their ideas and opinions known, so that we can develop a plan that will take us well into the future. It was really amazing how such a large group with so many different and diverse ideas could sit down in a room and vet out a working plan that hopefully will become an important part of our future waterfront planning. It was quite amazing to just really view all that process. The different ideas were just so diverse. But I just wanted to go over some of the highlights, and I'm feeling pretty confident that a lot of these things that I'm going to mention, this is a very short list, of course, are actually going to show up in the plan. But they were some of the things that were discussed predominantly over the rest of the ideas. First one was a pier. It was really felt that we should be building a pier off of our point at Gyro Park. That's going to provide walkability, some viewing areas, and perhaps a little bit of a gazebo to sit and gaze out over the lake and some of the vistas beyond there. Second idea that kind of came down, and these are in no particular order or importance, was that a plaza area should be developed on the existing parking U, and that would be the one that has been gated off, and we used to be able to drive around in there. And hopefully that would serve as a multi-purpose community event area that could host things like market gardens, vendors, art in the park, and other displays and functions in our community. Third thing that was brought forward, lots and lots of discussion about music in our park. And some of those discussions included the existing band shell, and some of them did not, and it was not really vetted out as to exactly what's going to come out of it. But being a big music fan myself, I'm getting really excited to see how that's going to work out at the end of the day. Most everybody felt that there was a real need for more family gathering areas in our waterfront planning, and those areas should really be planned with children activities and you know, things that just really encouraged people to go down there as family units and enjoy it with their children. And you know, I thought that was a great idea. You know, any attraction or amenity that we can provide in our community that encourages people to use it, you know, and stay in our community is always big in my priority list. Boy, a lot of enthusiastic discussion about beach volleyball kind of caught everybody surprised, but you know, we got a real lesson on how big of a sport that is and how it could be developed in our community, and it's going to be real interesting to see how that component fits into our overall planning down there. And finally, one that's really something that I really personally love, and that was more food vendors. You know, on a more serious note, I think that a lot of mobile food vendors have really come a long ways in the last few years, and you know, there's lots of TV programs on the Food Network and such, and we kind of thought that it would be a good idea to try to capitalize on that and provide some more and better food services in the park area. So that's a very short synopsis of the overall planning. I wanted to pause for a minute here and let everybody know that you know, the importance of collaboration in our community can never ever be something that we pass on by. This workshop really demonstrated how well it can work, and we really need to understand. One of the analogies that I like to draw lately is that over the past few years we've all been getting a real education on sustainability in our community and how important it is for future planning. And you know, the emphasis and a lot of the decision making we've done as a council has been based on that. And I'd sure like to emphasize the importance of that collaboration as a tool for bringing parties together so that everybody feels that they're involved and they're a part of the decision-making process. And if that workshop that we went through last week doesn't do anything else, it clearly states that collaboration is so important for elected officials in gathering those ideas from people. One of the other things that was mentioned, and it was mandatory that everything that we do in our waterfront planning from now on had to be based on protecting our environment, the quality of our lake water, and the preservation of our riparian areas. And how great is that? That's just so important, and I was so happy to see that come out of there. Finally, just a quick thank you to our planning technician, Phil Armstrong, and Director Len Cunningham for putting this workshop together, and especially to everybody that attended and contributed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Rhodes. Next is Councillor McCordall.
Yes, thank you. And I also was at the charrette last week, and I concur with everything that Councillor Rhodes has said. If I could just comment on a couple of things. One of the big issues that we talked about was safety, and safety for the people who are at Gyro Beach and safety for our town visitors, and so that was brought up. Also, a walkway through Gyro Beach area tied in with the trail networks that we already have seemed to be a great point to remember, because there are lots of seniors, and I think lots of other people too, that go on those walkways on a daily basis. So we want to make them as safe and as accessible as possible. Councillor Rhodes was talking about food, and I just want to mention that Anna Olson from the Food Network will be at Home Hardware next Monday. She's the spokesperson for Home Hardware, and she's A1. So anybody who's downtown, stop in and meet Anna Olson. One other thing I'd like to say about the charrette was that we did have quite a few discussions about the senior center and whether the senior center was in that location for it was the best use of that space. And absolutely, we all agreed that the seniors is the hub of that downtown area in the wintertime, and they have lots of people that are in there. Apparently, there are people, snowbirds from the prairie provinces, who phone first and find out what programs are on at the seniors before they book their time here. So it's a fabulous use of that space. And I'd like to just say thank you to Val and all the members of the Senior Center who hosted us so nicely for 3 days and put on, had a great facility and put on wonderful meals for us. So thank you. The other couple of other things I wanted to talk about. One was this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I have my pin on. A very good friend of mine is going through treatments right now, so I just want everybody to remember that this is the month, and we have such a good rate of success in British Columbia for any kind of cancer treatment, so we're lucky. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the Okanagan Regional Library. I am the council representative for the Okanagan Regional Library. The library board meetings are held in Kelowna, which is sort of the center of our area, which goes from Golden down the Okanagan to Osoyoos and over to Princeton. There are 25 board members and 240 staff that are in this area, and there are 30 different branches. 240 staff, that would include librarians and so on from all of the libraries, okay, not just in head office. The Okanagan Regional Library has been going for 75 years, since March of 1936. And in that time, there have been 3 CEOs, or executive directors, which is pretty amazing. The last executive director, the present one, I should say, the one who's there now, is retiring. And she had her, Leslie Dino, her name is, and she has been there for 25 years. So not only do I go to 4 regional meetings a year, but I've been to probably 10 so far, and I have 5 in the next 3-4 weeks because of 3 large issues this year. One is that the executive director is retiring, and I am on the personnel committee, and so we are looking at several very good prospective executive directors from all over Canada and some from the States, and we're going through that, which is quite an interesting procedure. We've also had quite a few QP and staff issues, Professional Employees Union and the QP unions, and those have been settled recently, so that is also a good thing. The third thing was that that the board chair, who is from the North Okanagan, who I only met once, but I believe Councillor Ryan knows, died unfortunately this year, so that has kind of thrown everything into a loop, but Carol Zanin from West Kelowna is now taken over the lead for that. So it's been a very interesting committee to be on, and I've certainly spent a fair amount of time at it. When I was in at the UBCM, there was a meeting where put on by the library board, and it was quite interesting. The Minister of Education was talking, and some other people, and they had a lovely banner that was there, and I talked to the lady, and I'm not sure what her title is, who was in charge, and I said, gee, I would love to have one of those banners to bring down to Osoyoos. Well, it was not allowed. We couldn't do that because it would belong to, I think, the Greater Victoria Library System owned it. So she did send me several quotes, though, where they took quotes from that and they put it on the banner. So I'd like to read you some of them, because I really think that, you know, libraries are, well, I've got the report here plus library statistics, and I need to tell you that that visits to libraries, not only in person but virtual visits, have consistently gone up over the years. Okay, so some of these quotes Libraries are a pillar of liberty. They equalize and transform. And that was from an author who I didn't recognize, so I didn't write down his name. Lady Bird Johnson, married to President Johnson. Perhaps no place in any community is so totally democratic as the town library. The only entrance requirement is interest. I thought that was interesting. We can sit in our library and be in all quarters of the earth, and I know you can do that online now as well. So these were written before we were online. And the last one was, I thought was interesting, Andrew Carnegie, who was a businessman and philanthropist who lived from 1835 to 1919. He said, a library outranks any other one thing a community can do to benefit its people. It is a never-failing spring in the desert. And I thought that was so appropriate for around here. So I'm encouraging you all to use your library. You pay for it on your taxes. Use it. It's a great resource. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. As you can see, we certainly have the right councillor on that committee with a lot of energy, and gee, it's been very, very busy for you. Yeah, exciting. I think that hiring process, hiring at that level would be there'd be a lot of interest and information there for sure. Next councillor would be Councillor Plante, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I also went a few times. I stopped in at the charrette for the Waterfront Master Plan, and the first time that I actually stopped in was at the public forum, where they had a public open house to see what was going on, which really gave me an insight at where the day before had gone with the diverse stakeholders. And that's what I wanted to mention too, because that group was filled with that room of people from all different walks of life that have lived here, that are business owners. It really is nice to see them all get in the same room. Maybe not agree on everything, but you could see actually as we went through the public forum that there are some similarities on where they would like to see the Waterfront Master Plan go. And to me, that shows that our community is really looking at some great options for down there at the waterfront, that we want to make that the heartbeat of this town. And a couple of things that I pulled out of it is you could see that we wanted to make it accessible to all ages, and that it had to be multifunctional down there. And those are keys to that. And just I'm looking forward to continuing this process and moving along to just liven that area up every year, just continuously seeing people down there and exploring all the great events that we can have down there. For me, I can say that we have a splash park meeting tonight. Looking forward to that. We've had a little bit of a break, just finishing up a couple of fundraisers we did. One was the oyster, the lobster dinner. Tonight we're actually going to be meeting, just going over a few different things, but one of them is going to be the Harvest Dinner Dance. It's coming up on November 3rd, and I wanted to bring that up because it's actually being put together by the Osoyoos Child Care Center, and with partial proceedings benefiting the splash park. So those tickets are only $30, and it's going to be catered by TDC Catering, and we're going to have some live entertainment called Room to Dance. And again, those are $30, and also involved with that is there's a silent auction from 6 to 10. And I just had a little bit of an update from Cheryl from the Child Care Center on some of the donations, and it's fantastic. I just want to thank some of the donations that have been coming already from businesses and their support for this event. And there's still time to get those in, so if you get a chance, I'm sure Cheryl would love to see you down there with some donations. Now, tickets are on sale still at the Imperial Office Pro and PharmaSave, and so you can also get those at the Child Care Center as well. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Councillor Plante. And again, I'd just like to thank the councillor for his enthusiasm when he got involved with the autism group in town here, and working with the staff from the Sonora Center, how quickly they landed a place. And I saw a picture of it today, and it really looks like a real beginning and a good start for a whole new group in town that certainly has a lot of needs and that. So thanks a lot, Councillor Plante. Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, the 2 weeks since our last meeting went very quickly, and of course Thanksgiving was in there and the start of the wine festival, and I hope everyone had a very happy Thanksgiving. In that time following, Council had a special meeting on this whole question of effluent disposal, and we're really putting a lot of energy and time and thought into this, because it's a very important matter for our community, and also part of our sustainability as well, our water conservation. And the design charrette for the waterfront was also a very important one, and I was able to be a part of that, observing the discussions, and I was really impressed by the seriousness that everyone took their role, and also the imagination and the open-mindedness that was shown by the 36 or so people who spent the better part of 2 days in discussions. And there was a good turnout as well for the evening cafe. So it's going to be coming back to council. I think the consultants are working on that right now, and they're going to have a final report on it, which will be made public. But certainly we got lots of wonderful ideas. In that charrette, I should say, there were I noticed in the last design that they put forward the concept that there were lots of trees, even where there aren't any now. They've put a lot of trees in there, and it's so easy, you know, when you're a designer and an architect, to put trees in, but it's not so easy in reality. And when we had the cafe, you know, there were a lot of trees shown, and some people were saying, well, you know, some of those trees should be removed. And I was on a hike on Saturday at Sawmill Lake, and we went through an area that in fact had been devastated by fire. And there weren't any big trees there. There were little bushes and flowers and little things like that, but there were just a few skeletons of trees. And I couldn't help thinking of Joyce Kilmer's poem, Trees. And I won't read it for you, but I will refer you to it. And all you have to do is put trees into your search engine, and it'll come right up there, probably as #1. But I will read you the first and last verses of the poem. It's very short, but and it starts out by American poet from the last century, Joyce Kilmer. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree. It goes on to rhapsodize about trees, and it ends up by saying, poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Well, God can make them, but you can plant them. So I just want to encourage you to respect trees. When you live in a desert, the one thing besides water that you look for is shade, and trees give shade. So let's really treasure our trees and increase their number whenever possible.
Thanks, Councillor Ryan. And just building on that, I was looking at the marina, and at the south finger there. It's all the topsoil is in, and there's room for 4 picnic tables, and there's going to be a big vegetation plan there. And I was looking at the 4 tables, and I'm thinking, I sure hope they put some trees in around those tables, because you wouldn't be able to sit there in any of our Okanagan summer heat. So again, on trees. I've been sort of on my regular duties. Had to do a whole day workshop up Regional District in Penticton. It was a strategized meeting, and I really don't. That's not really my strong suit. I really don't cotton to those very well, but managed to make it through as we look at 5-year plans and where we're going, things like that. They're very important. But some people take to them, and some people don't. Okanagan Basin Water Board, again, that's good, and that workshop is on this Friday, the 19th. So on the quagga mussels and quagga zebra mussel issue. So again, I'll bring some good information back from there. And I think that's basically, I had a lovely holiday. Martha and I were right after the UBCM. We were going to go down the Oregon coast, didn't make it, came home and had a staycation in Osoyoos. Golfed 3 days in a row. My goodness, that was good fun, and took in some of the great restaurants, and had a wonderful time here at home, and spending our dollars locally. That always makes you feel good. So anyway, that's my report. We'll have a motion to adjourn. Councillor McCordoff, Rhodes, all in favor. We are adjourned. Have a good afternoon, folks.